Hello, thank you so much for joining me. Today I'm doing my December wrap up. I think this is probably like my best reading month of the year because I read like 12 books, which I know for some people probably doesn't seem like that much, but for me it's quite a lot. So yeah. Before I get started, I just want to say I might be doing a Q&A, kind of depends on the amount of questions that I get, but if you have any questions for me, leave them in the comments. I'll also probably be asking for questions on like Twitter and Goodreads, and also on my Discord server, so yeah. The book that I read was Sagas of Anya by Kirsten Mabauer. I actually recently had an interview with the author, Kirsten, and also with her sister Avon, who's also written a book called Land of the Neurogons. I do also have a reading vlog for Sagas of Anya, and I really enjoyed reading it. It's become like, I have a list of books that I just reread whenever I'm in need of like a kind of pick me up, or I just need to kind of read, but I don't know. Yeah. But this has definitely made it on there. So yeah. The book that I read was Toffee. This it's a fairly big book, but it's in verse, so I managed to read it quite quickly. Yeah, again, I really enjoyed it. I don't think I'll be rereading it though. And it took quite a long time for me to kind of get used to it, but once I did, I think I started to really enjoy it. So that I read was actually a graphic novel, and also technically a reread. It was Roller Girl. I think I only read this because like I was trying to procrastinate reading the next book on my TBR. Not because I don't want to, but just because I couldn't be bothered. But this is another one that's on like my list of comfort reads. So the next book that I read was The Boy in the Striped Pyjamas. I cried a lot at the end. If you've read the book, you probably know why. And like while I was reading it, I knew it was really sad at the end, so I was kind of prepared to cry. I wasn't quite expecting it to end like that, and it was so sad. Yeah, I cried a lot. The next book that I read was Six of Crows. This was like, I think this took me about 4 days to finish, and it's the first book that I've read by Lee Bardugo, and also the first, well yeah, it's going to be the first Croatia first book. But yeah, I'm really excited to read Crooked Kingdom, as this ended on quite a big spoiler. No, not spoiler, cliffhanger. And also I really want to read the Shadow and Bone series, mainly because like there's obviously the Shadow and Bone TV show coming out in April, and I can't wait to watch that. But I probably need to read Shadow and Bone before I watch that, so yeah. This book that I read was technically a reread. I had to read it for school, but it was The Curious Incident of the Dog in Nighttime. Yeah, I've read it before, but I did really enjoy it. I think it's a really interesting book, and yeah. The next book that I actually read was Noughts and Crosses the Play. I again had to read this one for school, and I don't own it. I had like, before I read the play, I'd read like the original book, and I hadn't enjoyed that very much, and I didn't really enjoy the play very much either. I think I just don't really like it. I don't know. Comfort list. They're the first two they're both graphic novels. They're the first two in the Lumberjane series, which I've read 5 of, I think. Yeah, so these were rereads, because I think I mainly read these because I was procrastinating reading the same book that I was reading at the same time as reading them, because like I was self-isolating and stuff. So I read these because they covered a few of the prompts in the book for the holidays readathon and stuff. I really like them, and they're a fantasy graphic novel series. Yeah, they're some of my favourites. I read was Valiant by Holly Black. It was the second book in the Modern Fairy Tale series. I read the first book, Tithe, in like November, I think, and then I read this, which is the second book. It's a Modern Fairy Tale, and I think I did enjoy it. I didn't enjoy it as much as I enjoyed Tithe, just because they were like completely different characters, and like towards the end, one of the characters from Tithe then came into this book, but I think overall I just prefer Tithe. I prefer the characters and stuff. Yeah. The book that I read was like a sci-fi dystopian. It's Illuminae, and which is the first book in the Illuminae files. I think for like the first 25% of it, I found it quite hard to read just because it's properly like set up like a file. But I think as I got into it, I started to enjoy it a bit more. I think I'd have enjoyed it more if I was more into sci-fi and stuff. Yeah. I did kind of like it, and at first I didn't particularly want to read the second book in the Illuminae Files series, but now like I've been thinking about it and stuff, and I've been thinking actually it was kind of a fun thing to read, so I might read the second book. But it didn't leave on too much of a cliffhanger, so I don't really feel too much pressure to. And then the final book that I read was Magnus Chase and the Ship of the Dead. This one's the last book in the Magnus Chase series, and it's about like Viking mythology and stuff. I love it. Yeah, I love any Rick Riordan book, really. Yeah, I think I really enjoyed this one. As you can see, it's really beat up because like I've spilled coffee on it and stuff. But yeah. And I really enjoyed all the characters and stuff. I'm still kind of sad that Blitzstone isn't canon, but whatever. Also, one thing that I don't really understand is the cover. Honestly, the UK covers of Rick Riordan books are really bad. Who are these? That could be Magnus, but it doesn't look like him. And then, I don't know who that is. So, yeah, that's a bit ridiculous. But other than the cover, I think it's a really good book. Yeah, that's all of the books that I read in December. I was quite proud of it. I didn't achieve all the books on my TBR, mainly because I read a couple of other books that weren't on my TBR. And there were only 2 that I didn't quite get to, and I think the main reason why I didn't get to them was because I didn't particularly want to. There was Stardust and Shadow Sea, and neither of them I particularly wanted to read, so yeah. I don't feel too bad for not finishing it. I think my January TBR, to get more of an idea of that, is basically just all the books that I got for Christmas, which I do have a video on. So you can watch that if you want more of an idea. But yeah, thank you so much for watching. And if you have any questions for me to answer like in my Q&A, then leave them in the comments. Or wait for me to post on Twitter asking for questions or something. I don't know. But yeah. Yeah, thank you so much for watching. Bye.
She calls me day and night.